Greetings, fellow metalheads. It is a Saturday afternoon, and I thought it would be a good time to do a update on some records that I've received recently in the mail. Haven't had a chance to get out to any shops and do any shopping. Funds have been a little limited, but got some cool stuff in the mail. Some of these are new releases. Some of them are maybe new from last year that I might have missed, and some are from a couple of years back. So without any further ado, going to start off with a band that I have not purchased an album from in a long time. They've been around, they're still releasing music. Got into them, I guess, in maybe around 94, The Fourth Dimension. Some of you might know which band I'm talking about just from that title. Speaking of which, I know that's recently been re-released, as well as some of the earlier material released through Nuclear Blast. And so I'm going to be picking up some of those re-releases. Sorry about the glare. That's about as good as I can get it here, but Hypocrisy is the band I'm talking about. This is their most recent studio album, Worship. It's been out for, I guess, about a year, maybe a little less than a year. Just now getting my hands on it. I've listened to a few little snippets from the album online, and it's what I would expect from Hypocrisy. I love the sci-fi motif that they've seemed to have stuck with since their, I guess, shortly after The Fourth Dimension. There might have been a little tinge of some sci-fi there. But this one is the Purple Black White Splatter, which I gave a peek at earlier. I went ahead and opened up all the vinyl so the records would be easy to share out, and I think this one turned out great. It is a double record, and it's in solid purple with the black and white splatter in the center. Looks really cool. Might give that one a spin later on. The next two records I'm going to share are from a band that I've got their first and second albums on CD. Had not, even though these releases were, I have to cheat and look, were released in 2018, I kind of sat on these for a while, and recently I got them at a good price, and so I could no longer pass them up. This is the second album from Seventh Angel, and it is titled Lament for the Weary. Always love this album cover. The glare is going to kill it, but I'm sure most of you are familiar with this album already. This is a thrash band with a little bit of doom influence, especially in this, their second and their third album. And the, I guess, lead singer, guitar player has since gone on and started the band My Silent Wake, which has been around for quite a few years now, and they actually have more material out than Seventh Angel. Both are great bands, and if you've not given this group a listen to, please do so, because you're missing out. Some fantastic music. This one, the variant is a somewhat translucent blue. It really pops. And to follow that one up, I got their third album, which, other than listening to a few clips online, I've not listened to all the way through, but this was released in 2009 on CD. I know it wasn't released on vinyl, and I don't think there were any cassettes at that point, because cassettes weren't coming back for another few years. This is The Dust of Years. This one, from what I've read online and from listening to the samples, it's a little bit more doomier, maybe a little bit more like My Silent Wake. And this variant is a solid red. I've not found any any information about the number of pressings on these releases. So like I said, I sat on these for a while. They're still available online, so I would say that they were pressed in some higher numbers, which is good. So for those of you that don't have those, get out and pick those up before they become scarce. Last month, one of my videos, I shared out a Riot Archives release. It was the volume 3 from the late 80s era of the band. I've recently picked up volume 2, which is from 1982 and 1983. This one covers the Rhett Forrester years of the band. So they had 2 studio releases with Rhett after the Guy era of the band, which was the 70s and early 80s. So now that I have the volume 2 and volume 3, I will have to track down the first one. And I think this is probably just some maybe demo work from those 2 years with Rhett, and mentions 2 instrumentals and his audition tape tracks, 2 tracks from his audition tape. So have not given that a spin yet, but most certainly will. I appreciate all eras of the band Riot, whether they're current their current members continuing the band after Mark has passed away. They're just such a great band that it would be a shame. I know there's probably some fans that wish that they had just maybe carried on with a different name, but I appreciate the fact that they're keeping Riot alive. And I've noticed that they're still touring, and I think they're playing a festival here in the States in, I believe it's September. I have not seen that band live. Would hope to do so in the future. Another band I've not had the chance to see because they don't play too often in the States, and this is a live version or live concert of Bang Your Head, which was released on CD last year. This is a recent limited vinyl release. Once again, I don't know the numbers. I know it was said to be limited. I saw something about 25 on the colored versions. I don't know if that's, I've not seen that confirmed anywhere on the band's website or on Discogs or anywhere else. So, but I did grab this as soon as it went on once it was on sale, and I was able to grab this striking green. It is not translucent, but it sure does glow. It's not glow in the dark, but a little bit of light shining on it, and it is a hot green. It's probably the coolest colored vinyl that I have. And as far as the material on it, it just like the CD, it was believe it was a double CD. This is a double record, and it is fantastic. They sound great. It's just as good as the Live in Athens. Of course, this is the later era of the band, probably a couple of years before John had his current incarceration. Hopefully he gets out soon. But yeah, just fantastic. The band does an outstanding job of covering some of the I guess it's the Dark Saga material, and then some of the more later albums. Maybe there are a bunch of songs from their last 2 studio albums. So highly recommend that if you can pick that up, CD or record. And the next band is a newbie. I think this is their first full-length album. And actually, yeah, I'll start with the full length. This one just came out, so I've seen a few folks post this online, but I'm sure there's still some people have not gotten around to picking this up. This band just played in Europe recently at one of the festivals. I'm hoping that they'll start making the rounds here in the States. This is a female-fronted band. I don't know the band members' names offhand, but and I can't say that I can really compare them with another group. There was a song or two that maybe I heard some shades of Manila Road, but if you're not a Manila Road fan, don't let that scare you off. This is traditional heavy metal, might have a touch of speed and thrash in there, but mostly just heavy metal. Good stuff. There are, I believe, 3 variants. There's, of course, the black, and the one I picked up, they have it labeled as Cosmic Rain. 500 of those produced, and this is another quite impressive pressing. I've gotten a few other bands that have done something similar to this in the last year or so, but this blue is just really eye-catching. It's a different type of splatter. They don't typically call this one splatter, but it's got that splatter kind of look to it. When I picked that up, I also got a 7-inch single from the same band. So Bloodstar, this is The Fear, and it is the track The Fear and Tortured Earth. And as far as I know, those are exclusive to this 7-inch. These tracks were not released on any full-length albums. And that is another splatter with black and green. And that is also limited to 500. So very good traditional heavy metal band from the US. Now, when I got those, I also picked up, was experimenting, always on the look for Irish bands, heavy metal bands, and this was one that I was not familiar with. Listened to a few tracks online and liked what I heard, and so I picked up a 7-inch from them, Darkest Era, and this was a black variant, and it's released on Cruz de Sur Music. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And the tracks were recorded in 2015 and 2013. I'm not sure when the release came out, but I think it's a few years old. And then along with the 7-inch, I figured I needed to dig into one of their studio albums. So same band, Darkest Era, Severance. This is not their most recent full length. I believe there's another one after this. I am not able to find a release date on this, or at least a year. I know it goes back a couple of years. I'm thinking it's 2015 or 2016. And this one, variants were black. And this one looked like a solid brown, but I noticed earlier looking at it with the light shining through, there does seem to be a little bit of a mix in there. So maybe a mix of, I don't know, a dark brown and a light brown, or maybe a bronze and some brown. Very cool. Definitely want to dig into that band a little bit, and if I like what I hear, I'll definitely be looking to pick up their more recent album. And then last, I wanted to leave off with a band I've got a bunch of their full lengths. Of course, their original early 80s release, which the name is eluding me at the moment, and then a few of their mid-career, a band that kind of came back in the 2000s, and I've got, I think, 2 of their full lengths from maybe about 10 years ago, and that's the band Blitzkrieg. New wave of British heavy metal. This is just a single from their most recent album, which I do not have. And I guess depending on how I like this, I may try and track down that full length. I believe both of these tracks come directly from that full length. So at least I got it for just a few dollars, and pretty cool cover, and always on the lookout for anything new wave of British heavy metal, even if this is from the 2000s. So once again, I appreciate everybody that takes the time to watch these videos. Just doing it for fun and not looking for any recognition or huge following, but I appreciate seeing other people's music collections, and I'm sure some of you do the same. So till next time, I bid you adieu and take care.